Well, let's take you back to netball news now. The Proteas are taking on Uganda at 4 p.m. in the last of the group matches. Let's get an update now from SABC News reporter Lebohang Dube. Lebohang, thank you so much for your time. Well, you know, the Proteas need to beat Uganda by a huge margin. So I would imagine that all stakes are high and the team is nervous but excited at the same time. Talk to us about what's the very latest there from Cape Town.
Thank you very much, and we're just moments away from a big match for the Proteas, who really need to put out a performance against Uganda. They need to win by a huge score margin, but there's still that excitement. There's still that positive energy within the CTICC. We've seen fans already starting coming in from both, fans that are supporting both nations, the Proteas and Uganda, and the atmosphere seems to be quite great. We know that earlier in the day, Jamaica beat New Zealand. This does give the Proteas an opportunity to also put out a performance and try and qualify for the semi-finals. But I am joined by three ladies who are analysts who will break it down for us as we head into that big match for the Proteas. And I'm joined first by Dineo. And just to ask, we know what the Proteas have to do, but how can they do it?
Consistency throughout the game, from beginning to end. They have to maintain it. The best thing that I would suggest is a solid defense, and it'll carry them throughout the game. That's it.
And we know that the two teams have faced each other before. We know that the Proteas, in yesterday's performance, we know that they can do it after that brave performance against New Zealand. Is it what we expect again today against Uganda?
Certainly. I think Norma Plummer has done enough work with them behind the scenes, and I think she's encouraging them enough, and it's as her job. She's carried them through, and they will continue. I think they should. They've beat Uganda before. They can do it again, but the score margin is the concern.
The score margin is a concern, Can they do it?
Well, I believe the score margin, we need to have a margin of 63 goals for us to make it through to the semi-finals. But we need something that's more than a miracle for this to happen. Can they do it? I don't know, but we're standing behind them. We're hoping for a miracle, and we're hoping that they can pull out guns that we don't know where they are, because that's what it's going to take, because the Ugandan team is here to win as well. They're sitting 8th in the world ranking, so they really have nothing to lose but everything to prove. I actually saw a video earlier, one of our other analysts speaking to Meme, and she said, we're coming for you guys, and it's our African sisters, and we're like, maybe you guys can give this to us, we don't know, but we're backing our ladies. But it's really a tall ask for them to be able to have a margin of 63 goals.
If you look at the performance of the Proteas in this tournament, I'm taking that we can take some positives despite the huge score margin, which looks unlikely to happen. But I think the team can take positives from the tournament.
100%, Lebo. So if you look, and I always speak about how we're a defensive country, and if you look at our defensive unit yesterday, we stepped out and we stepped up at the right time. So if we can have Carla Pretorius as well as Pumza Maweni show up like they did with the Stratum as well, and whoever's being put on wing defense, we surely would be able to do something with that shooting circle. I know that they've got a really tall shooter over there, and she does miss sometimes, but the advantage that the Uganda shooter has is that whenever she does miss, chances are she'll get that rebound. She's almost 2 meters, just over 2 meters. So we can do it. And if also our shooting circle as well can show up like it did, especially towards the third and fourth quarter, we need them to do as well as our mid-court. We need Bongi Msomi, we need an Izet showing up like they did yesterday. We would be able to do it.
And Kini, we saw earlier on Jamaica pulling out a victory against New Zealand. We have seen the defending champions New Zealand really doing well in this tournament, but we've seen, in the last 2 days, their performance take a different direction. What perhaps could have gone wrong?
Well, if we have to say that this World Cup is one of firsts, that definitely showed that. Jamaica beating New Zealand for the first time in a World Cup World Cup on African soil. But I think the difference for me was just, and this word is synonymous with this World Cup, clinical. And Jamaica today was just clinical. I mean, they're a team that have been together for 8 years, and that shows definitely on court. The connections and the units that are out there on court are just seamless. And I think the pressure that New Zealand was trying to put on, 7 out of the 12 girls that are on court or on the bench even are playing in the SSN. And you can see that they are used to the crowds shouting, they are used to that pressure. They play the best teams and the best girls week in, week out, and that is shown. And that's what was the difference.
And speaking about Jamaica, they've really done well. They came in as one of the favorites. They're one of the top nations in terms of netball. Do we see them going all the way?
Oh, absolutely. I think Australia has found themselves in a little bit of a pickle in the sense that they could be eliminated for the first time from a finals position by Jamaica. They will obviously meet in the semi-final, and I do think that it won't be an easy feat, but I do think Jamaica will come out with that win and see Jamaica hopefully go up against either or New Zealand or in England, should we not make that semi-final.
And, just to wrap up, you look at the tournament overall, do you think perhaps the level of competition has really risen?
Yeah, it has. Over the years, everybody gets to develop in their own sphere, and I think each country has developed, and they're you can see it from the way they play at league level, from SSN moving all the way, you now play from SSN all the way to Super League and ANZ. You can see the difference in play, and yeah, I do think on a holistic scale, everybody has improved a lot.
And just to put this one to use, Coach Noma Plama spoke about how her players have really stepped up in this tournament, but she also feels that if they were to play in bigger leagues, would see a much more improvement. Is this what needs to be encouraged moving forward?
For me, it's a catch-22 level, because it's good for them to go and play in bigger leagues, and I think currently that's what we need to focus on, because we find ourselves in South Africa with not such big leagues. But I think Cecilia spoke something to, how about we get players from outside, come and play, maybe in our TNL, give our girls here, that platform to play in these big leagues. But really, if you're playing in a Super League, overseas, you do get the better experience when it comes to game time, the better experience when it comes to your own game and performance. So yes, it's something we can focus on, but it would be really nice to have players from outside come and build our South African players as well.
And I guess it would also be really nice for the Proteas to bring that win against Uganda. Quite a big ask for them to be able to, score those amount of goals that are required, 63 in total for them to secure a semi-final spot. But South Africans remain positive that they can do it. But I guess it's also an attitude that says, the team has really done well in this tournament. They've really proved themselves on home soil. And if it doesn't happen, they would definitely be fighting for the spot.
Well, South Africans are definitely rooting for the Proteas. Of course, in a few moments' time, the Proteas take on Uganda. That was Lebohang Dube out in Cape Town. There for us, of course, all eyes will be on that match.